Welcome to the Popcorn Wine Down with Tammy and Eddie. Grab your popcorn, get yourself a glass of wine, and come hang out with us as we discuss TV shows, movies, music, and pop culture.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wine Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us. This week we will be discussing The Voice. But first, let's get to the wine down. Tammy, we're starting with some sad news. Jeopardy host extraordinaire Alex Trebek, he lost his battle to prostate cancer. So I want to send a big shout out to his friends and family and friends. May he rest in power. I loved Alex Trebek. He was amazing. A pop culture icon.
Because you were a huge Jeopardy fan, right?
Yes. Why you say it like that? Like, I must admit.
No, I mean, it's a great thing. Go for it.
I must admit, yes, I do. And I did watch Jeopardy. I also must admit that I lose more money than I win, even online. Okay. So, but I like it. It tests my knowledge. You know, I like little nerdy stuff like that. So may Alex Trebek rest in power. For fans of the show like myself, the executive producers already said that they will continue on. That was his wish. He didn't want the show to stop. And they just haven't announced who the new host is going to be. I think they still have some shows in the bank that he taped previously. So we'll see what happens with that. But, you know, rest in power, Alex. Also, in other news, the Johnny Depp, his case was decided, his libel case. He was suing a British tabloid for calling him a wife beater, and he lost the case. It was a civil case. He's the one who brought the suit. But afterwards, after the decision came out, Warner Brothers decided to let him go. And I had mixed feelings about this. My thing was that they had already started filming Fantastic Beasts in number 3, and he had already filmed some scenes for it. And these weren't new allegations or new charges. It wasn't a criminal case. So why all of a sudden in the middle of a production?
That means that they already planned to fire him anyway because of all the drama that he had going on for the last couple years. They planned to fire him anyway, but they kind of wanted to see like how this was going to go, and it was a straw that broke the camel's back.
I agree with you on that. My thing is this, though. Why even let him film the scenes that he filmed, even though he stopped when the trial started? Why not just fire him beforehand if you knew this is what it was coming to? Because, you know, like I said, it's nothing new. So I think it's just fucked up how they did it in the middle of filming and all of that stuff. But
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
If that was the decision, because we all saw the writing on the wall, because this was bad PR for him and everybody, and you know, didn't help that J.K. Rowling was taking his side, and her with her problem. So you know. But anyway,
definitely doesn't help.
So we will see who ends up replacing him as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts series. Mads Mikkelsen is at the top of the list. It came out that they're negotiating with him, so it hasn't been finalized yet. But we will see if he actually turns out to be the replacement for that. And you are a big fan of the series, I know, so you should be glad to know that it's going to be a 5-part series. I had no idea.
Yes, even though the second one was horrible, I still watched it, and I was very excited when it came out. And I'm going to be excited for the next the 3 movies that are going to be coming out to finish off the series. But I mean, it's kind of because I'm such a huge Harry Potter fan, Ravenclaw, that I'm just going to watch it because I'm such a huge fan of the Harry Potter universe. But that don't mean that I agree that it was a good movie, because it wasn't.
Gryffindor, baby. But I ride for the G's. But I did not watch after the second. I didn't watch the second one, and I don't know why, because I did like the first one. But I do plan to get back in the series, so I have plenty of time. Warner Brothers also announced with Depp's firing that they're postponing the movie. They're pushing it back to 2022. So. You know, it's all good. We'll see what happens. Chadwick Boseman, switching lanes here. Chadwick Boseman, may he rest, is up for a Gotham Award for his last role in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is going to be released next month by Netflix. And it had been long assumed and presumed that he would be up for a lot of awards. Netflix said from the very beginning that they were going to put him up for everything, Oscars, Golden Globes, all the major awards. And even before he passed, I had heard that this is one of his better roles before any of it came out, you know. So for those that are saying he's just being nominated because he passed, like Heath Ledger or something like that, I'm going to reserve judgment until I see the movie, which I really want to see. They say Viola Davis kills it as well, which, you know, is Viola Davis. So is there any doubt about that?
That's another woman who ain't never gotten an Oscar.
I know, right?
And she deserves it.
Oh my gosh.
She deserves it. Even Meryl Streep, the queen, said that she deserved it.
Give her her thing. She deserved it for Doubt. Doubt was amazing. She did. She did. That whole 6 minutes that she was on screen in that movie, she killed it. It was like, wow. But yeah, so
I know like everybody's gonna be excited about Chadwick Boseman because this was his last movie before he died. So I definitely get that, but I'm really excited to see what Viola Davis does with her.
Yeah, and I'm also Denzel directed as well as produced, so I'm excited to see what he does because he was really good as the director in Fences and actor as well. So we'll see if the whole movie is deserving, and I guess we will come back to this conversation after the movie's been released and we've seen it. We can come back and say what we really think. I'm also interested in One Night in Miami, which is Regina King's directorial debut, so we'll talk about those later as well. In other casting and production news, The Order has been canceled by Netflix after 2 seasons, which kind of breaks my heart because I love that show.
I love the show too, but I'm gonna say this: when the first episode showed him with that blonde hair, I knew it was over. Okay, I knew that the season was gonna go downhill from there when the main character rolled up with some blonde hair, peroxide looking blonde hair. I said, shoot, because the show was good. I definitely enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first season, but the second season, it started off bad and just went downhill. Like, it kind of caught itself the last 2 episodes, but yeah, I can understand why it was canceled.
Yeah, this wasn't a Rona cancellation, but it's kind of sad because the second season, it struggled to find itself. And I'd say the last few episodes, the last quarter of the season is when it really, really seemed to catch on. And I wanted to see what was going to happen in season 3, but they said that he was going to actually resurrect his girlfriend. And when she came back, she was going to be possessed with, I think, the bad demon, the big bad. And I guess the whole season was going to be about depossessing her and sending the demons that came back with her back to the hellscape. So I guess we'll never know, but rest in peace, Order. It's sad. I'm gonna need Netflix to do something about my woo assassins. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
We'll see.
Every time I hear about Netflix cancellation, I'm like, I need some woo assassins news. Damn it. And Chicago Fire, they are on a Rona break. They got put into Rona timeout for 2 weeks. It seems like they have a little mini outbreak popping up on that set amongst the cast.
Yeah, a couple of crew members.
Yeah, so we'll see how that happens. And by the way, I did love the Chicago PD episode, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit later on in our season. So I will save that. But Chicago PD. And I have some news, and I know I'm probably going to shock you with this news. Okay, The Weeknd has been announced as the headliner, the performer for Super Bowl 55. Okay. And I love The Weeknd. I love football. Here's the shock: I was not excited about this news.
Okay, so you're not excited because it's The Weeknd, or you're not excited because of the fact that the whole world is being brought down by a pandemic?
Yeah, that's it. Because I love The Weeknd. Seeing him in concert, hell of a performer, amazing performer, puts on a hell of a show. Not excited because he gets the Super Bowl when the world is being brought down by a fucking pandemic, and all of the ancillary events around the Super Bowl have already been announced that they're either going to be majorly scaled back or they've been canceled already altogether. None of the networks and news outlets are sending, like, because the Super Bowl is like the biggest sporting event in the world. Yeah,
of the
literally.
It is.
And like ad sales are already down for it. Usually an ad can run you anywhere from $5 to $10 million. Like producing an ad for the Super Bowl can cost you like an independent film budget or something. But it's none of that's happening this year. So I'm like, why does the weekend have to perform now? Like, are they going to have fans at the Super Bowl? Is it going to be safe by then? Is it going to be a virtual performance? Now, I know the game is going to go on more than likely because it's the NFL and, they have no fucks to give unless it's about that money. So, yeah.
It's a business.
And it's a dirty business, but it's a business. But, we can talk about that later. But yeah, so that's it. I'm just thinking that it's not the best stage for the weekend. Like, couldn't he have done Super Bowl 56 when the world is hopefully back to normal?
I will say that I am excited. Now, granted, I am also not a fan of sports, so I won't be watching. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in years, almost 10 years. But I was excited when I heard the news. Now, the one thing is kind of, putting on my social justice hat is that I hope that because of the scale back on the whole thing, and it's not going to be as huge as it normally is, that the numbers for like what happens, in the back alleys, in any town where the Super Bowl is stationed, that those numbers go down. And I'm talking about those numbers like human trafficking, sex trafficking, which completely like just takes over wherever the Super Bowl is, because people disappear and you just too many people to understand where they are, or if they're actually missing, or they just like just up and left. But so I'm hoping those numbers go down with the fact that they have to scale back on the Super Bowl.
Hopefully they will. People are still gonna find a way to do some shitty things probably, but I hope that all that stuff scales back too, and the crime associated with the event, and like you said, all the dark shit that happens. Hopefully it will be less this year. But shout out to the weekend. I will still watch. Don't get me wrong, especially if Brady is in the Super Bowl again, because that's my dude.
Oh, so does that mean I can tell you to just tell me when he gets on?
Yes, Tammy. You can just tell me. You can just say text me. That seems to be what I get paid for. I'm your official entertainment announcer.
Thank you. Because I ain't gonna watch it.
So, and speaking of big shows and events, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, I guess, maybe, somehow, some way, perhaps. You sense my excitement.
That's a good segue. That was a good segue. Go for it. Go
my
for it.
excitement and all of that. Well,
not at all.
It's really weird. Normally after Halloween, you see all the Christmas shit pop up in the stores and stuff like that. And this year I saw it, but not as much. Like over, and so it normally it gives you a sense that the holidays are here. Well, and I still haven't felt it as much, even with all the reporting about the Christmas movies and all of that kind of stuff. It's like, okay. And normally I don't really get into the Christmas spirit because I'm a traditionalist, in the sense that I don't think Christmas really starts until Thanksgiving. Then that's when I pull out the music and start decorating the trees and the house and all that kind of stuff. So for me, that's the official beginning of Christmas season. But I understand the commercial aspect of it. They're going to start it in September if they could. But so this year's all been scaled back because, of course, it's 2020 and Rona has sent the world to shit. But Disney has announced their Christmas special at the end of the month after Thanksgiving. Thank you, Disney, for...
It's going to be on ABC, though. It's going to be on ABC.
And I'm so excited because for many of the performances, but of course, I support anything that our Bangtan boys are in. Haha, I'm getting better at that. Also known as BTS. They're singing Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and also some other amazing performances like, Leslie Odom. I almost called him Lamar Odom, girl. Don't you dare.
Don't you dare.
I know that to him in that voice.
So I know that, like, I can't wait to see what BTS does with the song. Although they've already performed it last year during their the Christmas special that they were a part of last year. Jimin and I forgot the other member that sang it with him. So they've already done.
It was Jimin and V.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. So, but I am excited to see like Sierra, who, she's always a hit or miss. So excited to see if she's more of a hit than a miss. Adam Lambert, Leslie Odom Jr., Katy Perry, who can really sing. Her whole image is but she can really sing. Pink, because I want to see Pink bring her rock style to it. And then also Kerry Washington is supposed to sing a song. So definitely excited to see if Kerry Washington really can hold that note.
Just a side note, I agree with you about Katy Perry. Sometimes I think it's the Lady Gaga effect, where a lot of the persona takes over the voice, and people just miss the voice because of the persona. But yeah,
because people didn't realize Lady Gaga could really, really sing until they saw A Star Was Born. They were like, "Oh shoot, that's really her singing." Yes, that's really her singing.
She's amazing. But also, so along with that, BTS, congratulations! They received an honor from the World Music Innovator, and I'm excited. I was happy about that. Congratulations to them. I think they have done some very innovative things with music this year. I was surprised because the Wall Street Journal is usually more conservative in their picks and things like that, but I guess this really is the year of BTS where they're winning everybody over. So, and along with that, winning people over, it seems like they're pissing off some people in Korea with their New Year's Eve plans.
Yes. Big Hit is deciding that they're going to have a family New Year's Eve concert. And that's great. Like, I was so excited when I first heard about it. And then the drama started. So first of all, it's a little bit of a petty move because there is like a music award show kind of thing that happens every year on New Year's Eve, and all the K-pop stars go. But now none of the Big Hit artists will be there because they're going to be doing their concert. Except for 17.
People going to be?
The Village People. I don't know. They did not announce where they are going to be, but they said they had a prior engagement that they couldn't cancel. So they're not going to be there. To be honest, I kind of think it's because they don't need the BTS effect to pull in crowds. Because because the fans saying that they're kind of upset about the price because it starts at like $140 and goes all the way to how much, $250 for a ticket, depending on the package that you purchase. They don't like the location. They say that they picked a horrible location because it's going to be an offline concert as well. So we'll see how that goes. And, and then kind of the pettiness of them doing it on New Year's Eve with that other music show happening on New Year's Eve as well. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm sure that they're not going to change their mind and they're going to go forward with it. But, I'm starting to think maybe this is a money move more than,
Well, on New Year's
else.
Eve, I get the whole aspect of the prices being jacked up because it's New Year's Eve. And no matter where you go or what you do, you're always going to pay that extra markup on New Year's Eve. But let me see if
But it's a half online
I know. So let me just get some clarification here. The $140. Watch at home.
Okay, so I believe that is the price for in person, but don't quote me on that because they haven't released any other prices except for the 3 package deals. And you remember when we watched the concert before, they had those same package deals. So to be honest, I don't know if that is the price because it's going to be more than BTS. So because TXT is going to perform, Nuance is going to perform, G-Friend is going to perform,
them Island Boys,
getting one more group.
and Hyphen. I like them. I'm excited about
and Hyphen is going to perform, and it's going to be their first. Major performance, which they're supposed to debut at the end of the month. But we'll see, how it goes. But for right now, it looks like that may be the online price as well.
They're gonna need to Black Friday that shit. For real, because I understand that. Like I said, I just told you, I understand the economics of New Year's Eve and how everything gets jacked up. But I am not paying $140 to watch a concert from my home. That's like Mulan. I'm having Mulan flashbacks.
We were still pulling on the fact that we had to pay. What did we pay? $80 when we did the Mountain of the Soul 1 concert.
But it was 2 nights, and I kind of got it, and it's cool, and
Yeah, this
Nah,
one is
dog,
one night. It's
it
one
ain't
night on
happening
New
not
Year's
for New
Eve.
Year's
Okay.
Eve. No, no, absolutely not. They better learn Black Friday real quick.
But I do have some really,
Okay,
really
what is
good
it?
news.
Wow me.
Okay, so everybody knows, because I've talked about it multiple times, that I have two groups that I just absolutely, absolutely love. One of them is BTS, of course. And then the second group is GOT7. And I have been griping about the fact that JYP has not released a comeback date or anything. Well, now I am happy to announce that their new single for their comeback will be released on November 23rd.
Yay!
Woo! So excited. So
Yay!
excited. Woo! And then their CD, Last Piece, is supposed to come out on November 30th. Now, I'm very, very excited.
Don't focus on the name. Don't focus on the name.
Because, yeah, because the album is called Last Piece. And it's not peace like, the peace sign. No. It's like the last piece, like the last piece of pie. So hopefully that is just the name, and they are going to re-sign because their contract is up in January. So hopefully they re-sign. But I'm very, very, very excited for BTS. That's going to be coming out on Friday, but as well as GOT7. Thank you, finally, JYP, for doing what you should have done.
Thank you, JYP.
Ago. Thank you so much.
Saved me some trauma here. And that does it for the wind down. Go pop you some popcorn, get that glass of wine. Meet us on the flip side when we discuss the boys. Get into The Boys, which is set in a world where the superheroes seem more popular than celebrities, have as much political influence as politicians, and they're loved throughout the world and treated like they're gods. Unfortunately, things are not always as they seem, Cammie. They're really corporate-owned bullies who misuse and abuse their power for their own selfish means. And I must say, I'm absolutely here for all of it. I love The Boys. I
know, you're the one who suggested it, right?
Yes, but I love it. And as much as I love superhero movies, you would not think that I would love this, or it would be like, forget the fact that it's produced by Seth Rosenberg and Evan Goldberg and Eric Kripke and all that. So it's going to be batshit crazy because, But it is just, how do I say it? I love it. Homelander is the anti-Superman. Like, we've had that conversation about Superman.
How perfect Superman is, which makes him boring.
So Homelander definitely is the antithesis of Superman. He is like everything Superman is not and would never think to be. I wonder how Batman and Superman would feel about the superheroes and The Boys. But anyway.
All of them is kind of made off of them. So it kind of be like with Bizarro,
yeah.
Right?
But so and to me, season 2 was even better than season 1. And that is rare that happens. Sometimes when you come off something that was so lightning in a bottle, the second season, there's always this letdown. And I did not feel that with season 2 at all. What about you?
I liked it. I really, really enjoyed it. The one thing that I do want to say, just start this off real quick, is that Homelander is a fake ass bitch. Okay? I'm just going to put that right out there. He a crybaby. He a little, and I say this, and I'm disappointed in myself for saying this because I'm a feminist, but he a little bitch. Like, full on. Like, I was watching the show, and every single thing, like, they want you to feel for him, right? Because he had no parents. He was basically raised in a lab by scientists. Nobody loved him growing up, really, and all this other stuff. And I'm just watching him like, and? Like, nobody cares, dude. Like, nobody cares. You are so evil and rude and mean that nobody cares that you had no one to help you become an actual human being. Like I absolutely hated his character.
And I think that's the point. I think like a lot of times when you find a popular character or something, especially as the anti-hero or the villain, they try to make him likable, to find something redeeming about him. And even though I understand Homelander's story, I understand completely why he is the way he is. It
still didn't redeem him, though.
It does not do anything to redeem him. He is like irredeemable. And so I'm going to also give a shout out to Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. He also was the lead in Banshee, and I loved him in Banshee. Loved Banshee. And I love him just as much as Homelander, even though Homelander, as you said, I'm going to take it a bit further. Homeland is a pussy ass bitch. Like, you know, he called his son a little pussy. No, dude, you're the pussy. Like,
wait. Is this the same dude, right? That the first episode, he had to go in to, I forgot what her name was, office, goes into her little fridge, takes out breast milk.
And ghosts it like...
And has a little sexual moment of him with her breast milk after you burnt the woman's face off, dude?
Yeah. That's the same dude. Like, and the way he does it with the breast milk, it's like a crack addict trying to get their fix. Like, it was like it's like his meth. Like,
yes.
And so the way he was gulping it, and then when the girl walks in and he gets caught and he's like, oh, like trying to hide it, and it's just like, and then when he was even at Becca's house visiting his son, and he went to the refrigerator and he was lapping up the milk, and I'm like, what is your obsession with this?
With milk
and breast milk, and what was your obsession with her? Because it's like, dude, you burnt her face off, but then you get doppelganger to pretend to be her, and then you actually have sex with her or him.
Look, that was some psychological crazy BS, yo. Like when he goes in and she comes out, and I'm just like, oh my god,
I thought he was too.
I thought it was true, and then when the doppelganger turns back into himself because he was her for too long, and he's like, turn back.
Like, Homelander is, can we just say, batshit crazy?
Like batshit crazy. Like he's psychotic and he's sociopathic.
And I don't think you could get several PhDs just writing about the mind of Homelander. Like,
yes, I agree. You can get that doctorate with that.
Several of them. Like,
and then he found his perfect match
in Stormfront.
Okay. Stormfront was his perfect match because she was as batshit crazy as he was. And she was a racist. She was a Nazi, full-on white supremacist Nazi. And I'm just like, if that ain't perfect for you, I don't know what is. Because she's going to encourage you to be a psychotic.
Yeah, because at first, I mean, but I knew, okay, when she was revealed, when the true Stormfront was revealed, I was surprised she was who she was, and being the founder of the company's wife and all that. And that she used to be Liberty. But I'm not surprised that there was more to her. But they did a good job the first couple of episodes of having you think that she was someone else. I thought she was gonna buck the system just because of the way she came in against Bot.
Yeah, like she didn't care. She said what was ever on her mind, and you know, she put her thoughts out there, and so I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, girl, like I see you gonna be that badass. Yeah. And then the third episode, all it took was to the third episode. And was it the third episode that she killed which
brother? Yeah, I think it was.
No. And so like when she did that, I was just like, and she called him the yellow man. I was just like, oh crap. Like why you gotta do that? Like that's what y'all did on purpose. Y'all made me like her, and then you literally snatched that away because now like she batshit crazy when she was like, open your eyes. I like to see the light go out. I was just like, oh shoot.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, and I think the reason why she hated the companies because she felt like they were ruining her husband's legacy by letting in all these quote unquote unworthy and other superheroes that look like A-Train and,
She did say that the other races were coming in for white annihilation.
And I was just like, okay. And, and as we said before, going back to Homelander really quick, that he was irredeemable. There were moments, there were glimpses like that blink, like literally blink and you miss it, glimpses that there was somewhere that he still had a piece of human DNA in him somewhere. Like maybe a minuscule of a strand.
Deep.
And that's when it came to his son. We're not talking about when he called the little boy a pussy. We're not talking about when he pushed the little boy off the roof.
Pushed him straight off of the roof.
And if he were really human, like we suspected that the kid had powers because he's Homelander's son. But we weren't really sure.
He would have died. He would have broken
bones and died. So we're not talking about those moments, But but the moments did have to do with his son. And there were two that stood out to me. When they took him to Planet Vought and all the people started surrounding Homelander and the son was like shell shocked and he started having an anxiety attack because of all the people. And I thought, again, Homelander surprised me because I thought he was going to tell him, man up, you little pussy, this is what your future is, or something like that, or why are you crying? Stop being a bitch. I thought he was going to go full Homelander, but he actually was a father. He picked him up and he carried him out. He took him to the cabin and he just let him be. And I was like, oh, that is a moment. Like that was something a real human with empathy and compassion for another human being would do. And
now, is that partly on the fact he really wanted his son to love him and to want to be with him? He didn't want to have to force him into it. He actually wanted him to make the choice on being with him. I
think so. And I think there were moments like when him and Becca had made that deal and he agreed that he would not take him away from Becca because I think he really wanted to be a father to his kid. He just didn't know how because when she said, because it hit him, Homelander knows he's fucked up. Let's not pretend like he doesn't. He just doesn't give a fuck. But when she said, we don't want him to grow up. We don't want him to end up like you. I think that hit him. And I think what we didn't see is when he went in, I think Stormfront convinced him otherwise. Like Stormfront was like, oh no, we're not going for this, So I think that's.
Oh, you mean when they were outside and she was begging him not to take him?
And
I don't think it worked. I don't think it worked. I think that he kind of just went along with it, but he had already decided because Stormfront had already put her lashes in. I think he'd already decided to take. So that I felt that was a very there was lack of genuine feeling for her moment. Like when he walked away, I was like, he's lying to you, girl. Like, don't believe him. You think those tears sway him? He don't care about your tears.
I thought maybe I wasn't surprised when she walked in and they were gone. I'm like, oh, you in there cooking that made lasagna kid, woman. They just jacked your kid. They just skied up literally with your son. So, but it didn't surprise me. But I thought maybe it got to him a little bit. But also the other moment is, and this one is really one of those blink and you miss it moments because he did absolutely nothing about it, is when Stormfront was trying to indoctrinate him with all that Nazi bullshit. And he looked at her like, bitch, are you fucking crazy? But he didn't.
And still let her go.
Didn't say anything. So I'm like, oh, you really missed the moment on that one, Stormfront. You really missed the train. And speaking of trains, A-Train. See what I did there?
Not a fan. No. No. You did good. I like that segue. You doing really good with segues today. But no, A-Train, hit or miss. Like he was just there. I didn't. I mean, he was too selfish. Like he was all about whatever he had to do in order to get what he wanted, and he was willing to do whatever he needed to do to get what he wanted. That's why he joined the Church of Scientology. Sorry, my bad. Church of the Collective. I apologize. All right, Church of the Collective.
You had it right, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, what the Scientology fuck is this church? Like, and we shouldn't say it too loud, because next thing you know, they're going to be bugging us, trying to come sue us.
Oh, shit, you know they are.
Talking about.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, but of course, he is who he is. And I think that's why I like A-Train a little bit, is that I think he has some moments where he can be redeemed, or basically, I guess he just does what he needs to do to get by, But yeah,
But when you say that, the moment, like, I just thought of this, the moment that shows that he's willing to do whatever is necessary just to survive is when he was talking to Starlight, and I forgot what comment she made, and he said, see, and that's exactly what people who were raised with money would say.
He was like, because when he found out, I don't know if it was when he found out they were trying to put him out of 7, or when he first came back. Oh, and she's like, well, why do you do this? And he's like, because of the money or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just forgot which scene. I think maybe it's the first time he confronted her, when she actually was like, well, if you out me for taking a V, I'm going to out you for killing your girlfriend. And
his that's what it was. It was survival. And I just have, on that note, I have to say that what I really, really, really loved about this season, more than the first season, was that every single thing was real life relevant. Every scene, every character, it was like, what the fuck? Like, this is what's happening literally outside. Like, you can name who every single one of these people was representing and what every scene was about. When they were talking about immigration, come on now, we're going through that right now. When you figured out that she had this whole group of people that started to believe her so much that a dude went into a convenience store and shot a dude in the face.
Yes.
Like, I was just like, yo, like, that's how it works. And it was crazy to see, like, that's how
and when
it goes,
the Scientology, collective, the head of the collective, when he was talking to Edgar, and he said, well, even you knowing what she is, why do you let her go? And he's like, because she's good for the bottom line. And that just reminds me of why so many people supported this MAGA idiot fool. So especially so many people of color, wealthy people of color in a position, because he's good for their bottom line. So it's like, you're willing to basically sell your soul and forget about the fact that if she had her choice, she would kill you. Because he also acknowledged,
just for money.
Because when he was talking to Butcher, he acknowledged, he was like, he said, but he also called Butcher on your white privilege. He said, because that's something I don't have the privilege of.
Oh yes, what did he say? He was like, that's a white man's luxury.
And I was like, oh, okay. So
relevant.
Yeah. And speaking of Butcher, he evolved so much from this season. He went from being 100% see you next Tuesday. He knocked it down to 95%. He had his moments. As he told.
He bumped up 5%.
He told the kid, hey girl, that's a complete evolution for him. He did a 180. As he told the kid at the end, don't be a cunt. So one of the things I loved about this season is you actually got to understand a little bit more about the characters and their backstory, and I love the way they did it. Butcher, you understood why he's so toxic in relationships and why he is the way he is.
Yeah, especially when he met his mom and dad.
His shout out to John Noble, one of my favorite actors who played his dad. Amazing. My favorite member of Butcher's family was his drug dealing aunt. She goes hard. Like, shout out to the aunt with the lab.
Ooh,
selling prescription drugs to the old people in the neighborhood, had her lab in the basement and shit. Aunt was a pimp. I loved her. And also understanding more of who Komoko was before she got to be, and why she was the way she was. And also Frenchie, why he was so hell-bent on destroying himself. Understanding his guilt about what happened with Lamplighter and the general's children and all of that stuff. So they did a great job of giving us a little bit more insight into the characters and some of what they're going through. And then you find out that Huey's mom is not even dead. She just left. Like,
Okay, so can we talk about the fact that Huey was a waste of space? An absolute waste of space. There was no progression whatsoever on this dude. Like, I understand he's supposed to be Butcher's canary, and I kind of got that. Like, I would agree with mother.
Can we just call
mother's
him
milk?
MM. That mother's milk takes me back to Homelander and the breast milk.
So Homelander, right? But when Eminem said that he's your canary, he's the one that lets you know when you're going too far. Even if you continue to go, at least someone tells you when you're going too far. And so I would agree with that. And that definitely helped Butcher to kind of pull back when he would have just kept pushing forward once he heard that. But at the same time, Huey was a waste of space. Like, I was just like, Annie, why do you like him?
Her mother said,
like, he's nothing.
Said the anxious kid with the sweaty palms, really?
Palms? So she was like the moist handshake.
Oh my goodness. And and you also get that I think the reason why Butcher was so hard on him and also was so just have this really adverse reaction to him is because he reminded him of one of the people he loved most besides Becca, and that was his little brother Lenny. So I think, that might explain why he was so hesitant about him. But can we talk about waste of space, who I actually love, is the Deep. He is an idiot.
My God. If you want to talk about a fucking idiot, yes, go right ahead. Go right ahead. He the one talking about Church of Scientology and shit like that. Come on,
he is comic relief to the end. Chase Crawford is amazing in that role. I love it. And the Deep is just like, because the first one he's like, let's talk about Eagle. Yeah, Eagle's my boy. He's the one that brought me in. He's been a great friend. He betrayed the church. Oh, fuck that dude. I don't know him. We ain't that cool.
Oh my God! When he got all high, and the girls was like, "Look at us! Look at us!" And he's like, "No." What the fuck is wrong with you? Dude?
And A-Train was like, I thought that was your friend though, like, and so, but then when Deep realized that he wasn't going to get back into the 7, it's like, yo, they took A-Train back. Y'all had me do all this shit and I'm still not back in the 7, and they take A-Train back? And so when he was like, and then when the guy was trying to say he was being a toxic personality, and he was like, I signed over all my money. I made this weird shit.
Yeah, he literally gave him and that's how I knew. That was confirmation on which church the Church of the Collective was supposed to be representing. That's how I knew. And even when he was just like, you have me marry that weird woman who don't even give good blowjobs. Like, yes, they did. Or no. My favorite scene for Deep, even though he's a waste of space, my favorite scene was when he thought he was about to stop butchering them with the whale, and he's standing on top of the whale like, yeah, you better stop. And then he realized, like, oh shit, they're not gonna stop. And they literally jammed into the well. And I was like, come on now, you should have known by now. Butcher ain't stopping for nobody.
And then he was like, just leave me here inside the well guts. Like, Huey was done. He was just like, leave me, just, it's okay. And Butcher being Butcher left his ass.
He was like, okay. And then Eminem had to be like, I'm just stay here with you. He's like, I hate you. Because he ended up having to leave. But no, like that, yeah. Deep was a waste of space. He was an idiot. But is it Chase?
Chase Crawford.
Chase played him so well.
Did.
So well. Because I was cracking up at his stupidity. Now I will say, we haven't talked about it yet, but we have to talk before we end it. We got to talk about the women.
Oh.
We got to talk about the women of the show.
Get it done.
We talked about Storefront. Yeah, we talk about Storefront with her racist ass. But even like May was one of my favorite characters. I loved seeing on her describing the reason why she does what she does and why she stays and why she refuses to step up. Because of the fear that she had, because she knew firsthand
what Homelander was capable of.
yeah, she knew firsthand what he was capable of. And so she knew how to play the game well because she was not about to get herself in danger or Elena, her girlfriend, in danger either. But at the end, when Stormfront thought that she had this and that she was good, and she said, come on, bring it. And then Maeve showed up and they stomped that bitch. I said, stomp her. Go ahead. Stomp on her. Get her. Like I was cheering them along. Because women get it done.
Yeah, and the guys recognized that too. They were like, oh, we gonna go in. Then they just all stood back like, whoa, no, they got this. Yes, I do. And I love Komoko for her badassness. I love Starlight for the reason why she said, she's like, if you just leave and let them be assholes, then what is that going to accomplish?
Yeah, I actually agree with her going back. I understand that, she definitely had some experiences, but I agree with her going back into the 7, because how are they going to change if there's nobody there to push back at all? If you never have anybody to push back, and she changed the minds of so many of them, because Maeve was just going to kind of chuck it along until like every time Starlight got in trouble, who's the one who stepped up for her,
And
so that was a good thing.
And I'm so glad Komoko, because I was mad for a moment when I thought Komoko died, when that bitch Stormfront broke her neck. I'm like, oh no, I love Komoko.
Mm-hmm. And then she snapped that back into place and kept it going.
I love Komoko and Frenchie. They're my favorites. And also, before we wrap this up, I just gotta give a shout out to Frenchie and Komoko and Maeve. She's one of my favorites too.
Oh, you gonna talk about AOC real quick?
I did not. Two things. Okay, did not see that coming with AOC. Especially at the end, I knew there was something more to her, but I didn't know she was the one blowing up people's heads.
That was definitely surprising.
So when they showed her talking to the collective, that's her being part of the collective, I'm like, oh, okay, that explains it.
And then when the guy said,
I'm like, oh no, that bitch is for real crazy. So I'm interested to see how that will play out in season 3. Also in season 3, I'm interested to see Jensen Ackles' role. I don't know if you know this, but he's joining as the original superhero Soldier Boy.
Yes, you told me, and I was not about watching The Boys because I didn't really fully enjoy the first season. I watched it just because it was such a hit. The second season was way better, and you'll get my rating soon. But now that you say Jensen's going to be in it, I am a huge fan of his. So now I have to watch season 3.
So I wonder if he's going to give Homelander a run for his money.
I hope so.
So we'll see what happens. I'm also
you can't come in being that sexy and not do something.
I'm also interested to see how A-Train, he's just going to go with whatever way the wind blows. But I'm curious as to what's going to happen with the Deep now that he's out of the cold, not with the 7. Is he going to become a boy? Is he going to? So there's boy? One of the boys. He going to be. Never.
Oh God, he's too stupid. Butcher chew him up and spit him right back out. He's too stupid.
I know,
for that.
Butcher would call him his favorite
word. I can't see the Deep getting back into the 7 though. I can see him ultimately getting back into the 7. But dude, you just gonna be a mascot because don't nobody want you. You too stupid. He too stupid.
But I love the Deep just because he's so stupid. But
just you the only one. You the only one.
He can talk to the fish.
He can talk to the fish. Talk about how they really be partying at night. Dude, nobody cares. Nobody. He's the uncoolest. Like, to think that he's supposed to be like the Aquaman of the group, and then you compare him to the fact that we have Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and then you got the Deep. It's horrible.
Okay.
It's trash.
All right. So we don't have to ask whether this is worthy of a renewal. All right. I'm gonna need Netflix to get on that renewal tip with the Woo Assassins. Sorry, but anyway, I had to throw that in there. What would you rate season 2 of The Boys?
I'm gonna rate it a 3.5, a solid 3.5. Like 3/4. My popcorn is good because I didn't really want it to be topped off because I didn't want to spill any on the ground. So yeah, definitely 3.5 popcorn. I really, really enjoyed the season. The first 2 episodes kind of was really hit or miss. I was a little bored. By the 3rd episode, they fully locked me in. By the 6th episode, I was with my face right up on the screen, like, oh shoot, what's gonna happen next? Like, yeah. So definitely 3.5. They did really, really good on this season. What about
I'm gonna
you,
give
Eddie?
it a solid 4. 4 out of 5. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's good. I'm looking forward to the 3rd season. So yeah, that does it, I guess, with this week's episode of The Voice. Thank you for joining us. As always, be sure to tune in next week when we talk about the season premiere of The Neighborhood and the social justice movement, how it's affecting TV. So until then, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.